How do you heal yourself in a narcissistic relationship? In this video, I'm going to give you 5 tips so that you know exactly how to take care of yourself, because these relationships are not easy. But first, my name's Michelle Ferris. I'm a psychotherapist, and I love helping people create relationships without sacrificing their big hearts. And this has a lot to do with narcissistic relationships, because in a narcissistic relationship, the narcissist and the codependent, which are usually who they're in relationship with, both are trying to get validation in their self-esteem from external sources. The narcissistic person needs to feel like they are the ones with all the answers. They don't negotiate well, and they typically don't have a lot of empathy for other people, especially when somebody's disagreeing with them. Whereas the codependent person needs to feel needed. So they tend to have a lack of self-trust and healthy self-esteem because they often look to their partner for their worth. Whereas the narcissistic person needs the admiration from their partner in order to feel good about themselves. So how do you heal this kind of relationship? Well, first, you need to educate yourself about narcissism. As with any problem, knowledge is power. Once you understand the traits and you start reading up on it, it's going to do a couple of different things for you. One, it's going to make you feel a lot less alone because you're going to see yourself in what you're reading in terms of narcissistic people and narcissistic relationships. And the second thing it's going to do is it's going to help you not take these behaviors personally. Because when you're the codependent part of this relationship, it's really easy to feel like you're crazy. Because one of the things that's a real telltale sign of a narcissistic codependent relationship is gaslighting. And that's when the narcissistic person denies the reality of their partner. So they might hurt their partner in terms of making fun of them or making them wrong or excessively blaming them for things. And the codependent person tends to buy into that. Some important signs to look for in the narcissistic person is a lack of empathy, an inability to negotiate or admit fault in any situation. They have to be right. There isn't an ability for them to weigh somebody else's feelings along with their own because it's too threatening for them, which is why this kind of relationship is really painful. And over time, the codependent person tends to lose themselves and lose any sense of self, which is part of the reason why I'm doing this video, because you can do some steps in order to heal. And educating yourself is absolutely something that is going to validate your experience and remind you that it's not about you, that a narcissistic's behavior is about them and their own struggle, even though they may tell you it's your fault. Second, know your boundaries. And sometimes when we're codependent, that's a really tough thing to do. But here's how you start. Think of those behaviors that really hurt you in this relationship, because that's probably where that person is crossing your boundary. Because narcissistic people are really good at making you feel bad about yourself. So I want you to make a list of all the behaviors and the times that you have felt bad about yourself in that relationship. And I guarantee those are probably behaviors where you're going to need to choose to remove yourself. Because to tell them to stop is not going to work. A narcissist only gets help if they think they need help. And that rarely happens. That's the difficulty in being in this kind of relationship, is that most of the time narcissistic people don't see that they're at fault in any way, which compounds the problem. Number 3 is you need to cultivate self-trust. Because part of what happens when there's gaslighting behaviors and your reality is denied, then that really erodes your ability to trust your own perceptions. And one of the reasons we get into narcissistic relationships is as children, our thoughts and our feelings were dismissed. So we learn early on not to trust ourselves, and we look to our relationship to define our reality. That's really dangerous in a narcissistic relationship, because the narcissist is going to take hold of that and try to control you. So how you build self-trust is you start to honor your own perceptions and your own feelings. Now, at first, you're probably going to want to dismiss them. You're probably going to say to yourself, this is stupid, I'm being too sensitive, this isn't right. You know what? I want you to ignore that. And I want you to get a journal and start writing about how you feel every day. Because part of what you need to do is start cultivating What is it that you're feeling and honoring those feelings? Because I guarantee they're right. So instead of dismissing your feelings, I want you to lean into them. Self-trust is built over time. And initially, you are going to have some self-doubt. Even if you don't trust your own perceptions, act as if you do. Act as if they are perfectly legitimate and they're not crazy, because I guarantee they're not. Your perceptions are your gateway into your intuition, and that's going to help you in this relationship survive and learn how to take care of yourself, or learn to leave at some point if that's what you choose to do. So number 4 is get support. Family and friends, unless they have experience with narcissistic people, are not the best people to go to for help, because they're probably going to have a big reaction. They may get judgmental, and that's not going to help you. So 2 places I would send you is Al-Anon and CODA. Those are 2 12-step programs around codependency, because usually as the partner of a narcissist, there are probably some codependent issues going on. But the other thing I'm going to recommend is seeing if there are any narcissistic support groups. I'm sure there are, and Tracy Malone has a wonderful channel on YouTube about narcissistic behavior, and I would definitely be subscribing to her channel because she has a lot of really great resources for you. Because when you have support around the issue you're dealing with, you feel less alone, and it's going to be a lot easier for you to want to heal and move forward because you're not doing it in isolation. Number 5, I want you to ask yourself, why are you staying in this relationship? And I'm not saying this to be judgmental. I want to encourage you to explore the reasons why you're in it. Because if you truly are in a narcissistic relationship, you've probably been hurt a lot. And to really get clear on what is your motivation, what are you getting out of this relationship? Because you're probably getting out something, or else you wouldn't be in it. It's also important to assess your relationships occasionally and to be honest with yourself and say, why is it that you're in this relationship? Because if you say something like, well, nobody else is going to have me, my partner has told me that several times, or I'm always going to be alone and I don't want to risk being alone, those are common fears, but they're also false evidence appearing real. Because most of the time what we fear never actually happens. So I really want you to ask yourself that question honestly, just to see where you're at right now. Not to push you out of the relationship, but to just ask yourself why you're still in it. And do it again without beating yourself up, without judging yourself, because you don't need that. It's hard enough to be in this kind of relationship, but I want to support you in just uncovering a bit where your motivation is. Now, part of doing this work is you assessing your relationships. And unfortunately, the one thing about narcissistic relationships is if the narcissist doesn't get help, it's really hard to improve the relationship because the psychological abuse is likely going to just continue. And that's part of the reason that last question is going to be helpful to you, because you may ask yourself why you're in this relationship this month, and then next month you might be a little bit further along and have a different response, or be a little bit more ready to consider taking action. Now, the next step I want you to do is I want you to look at my self-trust journal. This is something that I created a while ago because it was a real gap in my own recovery where I didn't trust myself, and it really kept me in relationships that didn't work or serve me anymore. And especially in narcissistic relationships, we tend to have a lot of self-doubt because of that gaslighting behavior that happens. So I'm going to leave the link in the description of this post. This is an e-journal that has a video that's going to help you heal that lack of self-trust and to start building up your self-esteem so that you can feel good about yourself. Because no matter what you do, you deserve to feel better about yourself, no matter what kind of relationship you're in. Thanks so much. Bye.